Leninsky Komsomol class and sometimes Leninsky Komsomol class. A Leninsky Komsomol class is a class of 25 ocean-going dry cargo sister ships, tween-deckers with turbine main engines, that were built between 1959 and 1968 in the USSR as per projects 567 and 567K. The series was built at the Kherson shipyard and at the Nikolaev shipyard as per program for modernization of the Soviet Union merchant fleet. Nikolaev shipyard was renamed later as Black Sea shipyard. Leninsky Komsomol, the official and register name of the first this class ship and the name of this class of cargo ships on English. Leninsky Komsomol, it is other Soviet river vessel English name. On Russian names of sea and river ships equally. Sometimes this English name used as name OSC ship and C class of ships in press literature. It is register English name of river vessel. Leninsky Komsomol, sometimes used this name as some persons translate Russian name on English like this. The Leninsky Komsomol class ships were the first Soviet Union merchant vessels turbine runners. This class of sister ships was named after the first ship in this class, the ship Leninsky Komsomol. This first vessel was laid on the 25th of September 1957 and was handed over to Black Sea Shipping Company on the 23rd of December 1959. The last ship in this class was named Parizhskaya Kommuna, which was taken into operation on the 17th of December 1968. This is the third class in Black Sea Shipping Company as per number of ships in class, and this class last ship Parizhskaya Kommuna was the first Soviet Union merchant ship with controllable pitch propeller and the largest ship with gas turbine main engine around the world at the time of her launching. This class of vessels was excellent for transatlantic traffic. Good speed, maneuverability, and seaworthiness forced the foreign experts draw the attention in the design of this type of vessels. The ships had high freeboard and due to this excellent stability and seaworthiness. History. Project 567 was developed at the Central Design Bureau Chernomorsudo Projekty Nikolaev. Major designers Bohonovich K.I., Sidorov B.K., and Sibir F.V. Ships of this class have been designed for use as the merchant ships during the peaceful time, as blockade runners in case of any blockade of friendly states, as fast troop transports after the mobilization, arms and inclusion in the Soviet Navy military transports group in case of war. Leninsky Komsomol class ships were not an accidental episode in the development of Soviet shipbuilding. History of dual-purpose ships in Russia begins in the age of sailing ships and paddle steamer fleet. Russia's defeat in the Crimean War of 1853 to 1856 and the prohibition for Russia to contain navy fleet in the Black Sea as per the terms of the Paris Congress of 1856. It has led to the expansion of the practice to build merchant ships with enhanced strength and speed that run under the pennants of Russian Steam Navigation and Trading Company Voluntary Fleet, and other shipping companies of the Russian Empire during the peaceful time. This situation allows to mobilize quickly about 200 merchant ships for Russian Imperial Navy after the First World War in the Black Sea only. During the Soviet Union historical period and shorter time, Soviet shipbuilders mastered successfully the construction of several types of high-speed, ocean-going cargo ships dual-purpose use and started their mass production. Leninsky Komsomol class of turbine runners with deadweight of 16,000 tons, with 6 holds and 6 twin decks, with cabins for 1 or 2 crew members each, was built in Nikolaev and Kherson. The construction of new Leninsky Komsomol class dry cargo ships on the motherland shipyards in Nikolaev and Kherson demonstrates mastery of the Soviet Black Sea shipbuilders and the increased level of the shipbuilding industry in the Soviet Union. This new ships operated mainly in the Black Sea Shipping Company, home port of Odessa. The Black Sea Shipping Company included 270 ocean-going ships about on beginning of 1980s and was considered the largest around the world shipping company as per number of vessels due to serial and mass construction of ships in the 1960s and 1970s. Leninsky Komsomol class ships were used as air blockade runners to break the Cuba blockade during the Cuban Missile Crisis, including Operation Anadia. 57 ships of the Black Sea Shipping Company were involved in breaking the blockade, and from Leningrad, the Russian North Riga and the Far Eastern shipping companies participated 34 vessels. After the ships of Leninsky Komsomol class were used to carry out military cargo to Angola, Vietnam and other countries in the military conflicts zone during the Cold War. When was 1973 Arab-Israeli War? 8 Soviet Union Leninsky Komsomol class of cargo ships carried out military cargo in Syria and Egypt in October and on beginning of November 1973. Leninsky Komsomol arrived at Alexandria on 28 October 1973. Fyziker Chatov visited Alexandria 2 times and Latakia 1 time. Bratstvo arrived in Latakia on 20 October 1973. Kimik Zelinsky, Krasny Oktyab, Leninsky Pioneer, Yunyi Leninets, Parazskaya Komuna. Also other classes of merchant ships carried military cargoes in Syria and Egypt during mentioned period in 1973. But 8 ships of Leninsky Komsomol class were used, and it is more than each other class of Soviet merchant ships took part in this carriages. Usually a class of sister ships called by the name of the first launched and delivered vessel in this class. The first launched and delivered ship received name Leninsky Komsomol. No doubt that the first ship in this class received name Leninsky Komsomol due to the KGB USSR had interest in building similar ships, and the KGB USSR was led consistently by former Komsomol leaders Shelepin and Semichastny VE. HREE Leninsky Komsomol class ships were transferred to the Soviet Union Navy for use as a large dry cargo transports in 1985-1986. One of these ships, Ravenstvo, was transferred to the Soviet Navy in 1985. And 2 more, academic Zamansky and Leninsky Pioneer, were transferred to the Soviet Navy in 1986. Ships particulars. Project 567 was developed at the Central Design Bureau Chernomorsudo Project in Nikolaev. Major designers: Bohonovich K.I., Sidorov B.K., Sabir F.V. This class ships were built on the Kherson shipyard and on the Nikolaev shipyard as per program for modernization of the Soviet Union merchant fleet. Nikolaev shipyard was renamed later as Black Sea Shipyard. The first ship laid on in 1957 and was built and handed over in December 1959. The last ship was built and handed over in 1968. OTAL 25 vessels were built, of which 20 in Kherson, 5 in Nikolaev. Outwardly, the Leninsky Komsomol class ships with cargo derricks are similar to the ship's U.S. Mariner class. 3 structures: the engine room at the middle, sloping nose, cruising stern, The Leninsky Komsomol class ships had the same length about and less width. All ships worked in the Black Sea Shipping Company under the Ministry of Merchant Marine Fleet in USSR. 3 ships of this series were transferred to the USSR Navy in 1985–1986 to use as a large dry cargo transports. Ship type: multi-purpose twin-decker, dry cargo freighter as per engine type, steam turbine for all sister ships except gas turbine for Parazhskaya Kommuna. Structural type: 2 decks, 3 structures, the engine room at the middle, sloping nose and cruising stern. Purpose: carriage of general and grain cargoes. Navigation area: unlimited. Cruising range: 12,000 miles. Displacement: 2,225 gross. Tonnage: 11,926 mt. Deadweight: 16,185 mt. Gross registered tonnage: 13,270 registered tons. Net registered tonnage: 6,866 registered tons. Hull length overall: 169.9 to 179 meters. Width: 21.8 to 22.6 meters. Molded depth amidships: from 12.9 to 16 meters. Draft: from 9.73 meters to 12 meters. About. Dimensions and tonnage of the sister ships had small difference, but the shape of the hull and the proportions were the same. New hull with improved shapes had been developed for ships in Leninsky Komsomol class. It should be noted that the hulls of this merchant ships had successful design and shapes, and the same forms of hull was used for the construction of the next series of merchant ships in the USSR in future, that were merchant ships of series Slaviansk Kapitany. The superstructure was moved more to stern. Number of hold design 5 due to holds were larger, etc. After first turbine runner Leninsky Komsomol, every next sister ship of Leninsky Komsomol class was refined and improved. So, if the first sister ships were equipped with cargo booms, the sister ships from 1961 and later were equipped with the brand new Soviet-made cargo cranes. But location structures, the number of holds were the same. Engines for all sister ships in Leninsky Komsomol series were made at the Kiev plant and installed on the Kherson and Nikolaev shipyards. Accordingly, power: 13,000, 14,300 of horsepower. The ship Leninsky Komsomol had speed 18.2 knots. It was the first vessel in this series. Maximum speed of other sister ships: in cargo condition 19.2, in ballast condition 20.4 knots. It was more than the usual speed of merchant ships at the time, but first ship in this class had speed 18.5 knots. About. All ships in this class except last ship Parazhskaya Kommuna were equipped with a steam turbine turbo gear unit -1, consisting of double case turbine and gear that were fed by 2 fuel oil boilers with capacity 25 tons of steam per hour at pressure of 42 atmospheres and temperature 470 degrees Celsius. Turbine power was 13,000 horsepower, giving 1,000 revolutions per minute at full speed. Gearbox lowered that number of RPM to 100 in the transition to the propeller. One 4-bladed propeller of bronze had diameter 6.3 meters. Processes to manage by boilers and turbine were automated. Last vessel in the Parazhskaya Kommuna was built in 1968 and were equipped with a gas turbine -20 power 13,000 horsepower that was made in the Kiev plant in Leningrad. GTU-20 had power 13,000 horsepower and permitted to reach speeds 19 knots. At the time it was the largest merchant freighter reactor with gas turbine engine around the world. There were frequent breakdowns of the turbine during the high revolutions and high speed. If one turbine blade was damaged during full speed, the ship received a push with such force that people on the deck were dropped down and people carried height works fell down and injured. Heightened fuel consumption at high speed of turbine in the face of rising fuel prices made the operation of the ship as too much expensive. It is why commenced gradation of speed for ships. Maximum speed, the speed that was noted from shipyard in delivery day which a ship could develop in case of emergency. Operation speed, the speed at which the ship's engines did not receive damages often. Economic speed, speed that is profitable from the economic point of view and taking into account the prevention of damage to the engine room. Cargo holds, cargo gear of Leninsky Komsomol class sister ships and the rate of cargo operations. 6 cargo holds, total bale capacity for 19,925 cubic meters, bulk capacity 23,355 cubic meters. Only 4 ships of Leninsky Komsomol class ships had been specially equipped for the transportation of troops and weapons, including long-range missiles. One of them is Metallurgianisov. Length overall of this ship is 9.1 meters longer than first ship in this class Leninsky Komsomol. Also width, molded depth and cargo holds openings increased. This sister ships have been equipped with one of 2 options of cargo gear. Soviet cargo cranes for the ships were designed and were installed on every Leninsky Komsomol class vessel from 1961. Only 4 first sister ships were equipped by cargo derricks only, and from 1961 including this year all other sister ships were equipped by the cranes made in USSR. Option 1 ship equipped with cargo booms and 2 heavy lift derricks, 16 cargo derricks lifting 5.0 mt. Only 4 holds 1 and 6 were serviced by 2 derricks each, and each other hold 4 derricks each. 4 cargo derricks lifting 10.0 mt each. Automated derricks were equipped with winches like cranes and managed by 1 person, which could work with 2 combined derricks also. 2 heavy lift derricks 60.0 metric tons each. Like this, derricks were operated by 2 persons due to 2 columns of control for each derrick were installed on the mast separately like for 2 persons. 5 masts. 4 of them were shaped construction to fix cargo derricks 5 mt each, and 1 of them on the accommodation superstructure in the center of the vessel. 2 pairs of cargo gear column to fix cargo derricks of 10 mt derricks. Option 2 ship equipped with cargo cranes and 2 heavy lift derricks, 12 cargo electric cranes type -26, carrying capacity 5.0 T2 crane for each hold. 2 heavy derricks with capacity of 60.0 tons each. 3 masts, 1 of them on the accommodation superstructure in the center of the vessel, another 2 masts to fix 2 heavy lift derricks. The possibility of self-defense. In the event of mobilization, this sister ships involves anti-aircraft guns, installation on rotary places of dismantled cargo cranes. The ability to use high speed gives possibility to escape quickly from chaser to leave the dangerous area in time. Crew and conditions for crew members. Crew. First vessels had beds for 51 persons originally, and last vessels had beds for 48 persons, a fewer from beginning. The Soviet shipping companies began reducing the crews of merchant ships in the late 1960s, which lasted until the 1990s. It is why sister ships had crew 35 persons about in the end of the life. That is about half of the original quantity. Accordingly, cabins were made initially for 1, 2 and 4 persons on these ships, and in the 1970s the 4-bed cabins converted into a 2-bed. The first developments of ships' air conditioning systems in the Soviet Union took place in 1957–1958 when Soviet plants had created the first radiator, and first-time sea and big river ships had been built with comfortable Soviet Union-made air-conditioned, including first cargo ship, Leninsky Komsomol in self-titled series. List of ships in Leninsky Komsomol class, Project 567 and 567K. All ships after construction were handed over to the Black Sea Shipping Company in the date of built, except the ship Parishskaya Kommuna, which was handed over to this company after long-time sea trials. Kherson Shipyard, Nikolaev Shipyard. Remark: some questions arise around the fate of one vessel in this class. It is the name of any ship cannot be translated due to rules at sea, and if translate from Russia we will receive Leninus Pioneer due to dates of vessels cutting and removing from the Lloyd's list are not the same. Leninsky Pioneer was transferred from Black Sea Shipping Company to the Soviet Black Sea Navy fleet in 1986. The new container ship was Layout 0 and the 23rd of January 1987. This container ship had another call sign. It is not clear which ship's name was removed from the Lloyd list in 1999. Turbo runners of Leninsky Komsomol series in documentary film. Kozubenko Michael Yakovich, Soviet and Ukrainian cinematographer, who worked at Odessa Film Studio from 1953 and made the documentary film Turbo Runners of Leninsky Komsomol class in 1959. Advertising, postage stamps and other publications about Leninsky Komsomol class vessels. Advertising poster of the USSR Maritime Transport, dated 1963 and 1964, represented the new Soviet construction ships, Leninsky Komsomol, which was built by shipyards of the Ukrainian SSR, and tanker Sofia, that was built by Leningrad shipyard. It is difficult to calculate how many newspaper and magazine articles have been written about Leninsky Komsomol class vessels. Every book about the Kherson shipyard history has pages about the construction of the Leninsky Komsomol class vessels, as these sister ships are a significant milestone in shipbuilding history of USSR and Kherson shipyard. These vessels are not so famous for Nikolaev shipyard history due to the war-built only 5 sister ships, and due to this shipyard-built Navy ships, mostly. Many interesting articles, stories, pictures about Leninsky Komsomol class ships can be found out in internet, including on English language. In 2009, the Marshall Islands issued a series of stamps dedicated to the Cuba Missile Crisis. On one stamp of the series depicts turbine runner surrounded by warship and patrol aircraft of USA Navy. It is depicted like the attached photo above, with ship Metalurgianisov in the same entourage, including the U.S. Navy ship with 2, and it is possible that Metalurgianisov pictured on this stamp